You all served, all three of you, as Treasury Secretary during really challenging times for our country. Across the board, globally, domestically. What's the most important thing you learned as Treasury Secretary? And Tim wrote a great book with a lot of things he learned, also worth reading, as did Bob. Seriously, these are great contributions to the public understanding. Tim, what'd you learn?
I think I learned that you can't approach these jobs as if your task, your challenge is to optimize within the constraints you're given. Because you can't do much for the economy of the world within the constraints you're given. You got to figure out a way to relax those constraints, to expand the scope of what's possible. And you can't do that without a combination of good ideas, being willing to be for stuff, and without some capacity to figure out how to bring people together in support of those things, which is about negotiating and about governance and about compromise.
Great answer.
You need those things.
Hank, what'd you learn? What's the most important thing?
Well, I think most people think, gee, the Treasury Secretary is a very powerful position. But as a Treasury Secretary, unless you have the support of the President and or are able to work with Congress or with foreign governments or with regulators don't work for you, you have to, again, you have to engender their support. And so the thing that I learned was that it takes maybe the same skill set as in business, but a very different mindset. You have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to compromise. There's not a lot of room for ideologues if you're going to get something done. So it really comes down to people issues, much more people than analytical.
Bob?
I was just thinking of something. I'm deciding whether I want to say it or not.
Then you should definitely say it.
If our mutual friend Larry Summers, who we are both very fond of, were here, he would say that the most important thing I learned was to call him and ask him what to do.
All right.
Now, having said that, I think two things strike me, Cheryl. One is know what you know, but know what you don't know. And for me, being at Treasury was and in the White House before that, enormous learning experience with respect to process and policy. And secondly, be true to yourself. Whatever it is you think, it's your responsibility to say to the President of the United States what you think, whether he or she agrees with you or not. And that is, the temptation not to do that is enormous. But you need to be true to yourself.